The meaning of salt in the Bible. Salt is connected with light and represents bringing to light the project of God Satan. Since the entire biblical concept is based on consciousness and knowledge, the reference to salt is an encrypted code that secretly indicates a change of consciousness. Losing the salt in the head means losing the ability to judge knowledge. This concept is expressed in the verse Matthew 5:13. You are the salt of the earth, but if the salt loses its flavor, how shall it be made salty again? It is no longer good for anything except to be thrown out and trampled by people. Salt represents intuitive knowledge, that is, the conscious self of the individual, symbolized by the earth having salt in the head. If the salt loses its flavor, means losing intuition, the ability to read within oneself and recognize one's own levels of consciousness. It is no longer good for anything except to be thrown out and trampled by men. Thrown out recalls the concept of fusion, division and union, meaning separation from the generator of life and union with the degenerative god Satan. It also indicates the idea of sending forward, that is, receiving knowledge based on the searching consciousness. However, since this knowledge is degenerative, it does not allow access to the generative levels of consciousness based on the generator of life. Trampled by men is linked to the symbolism of the foot, which represents a project that becomes a means. The men here indicate the return among the allies, the giants. In other versions, it is changed to people, suggesting the spread of this condition among other individuals. This verse describes a process of changing consciousness and knowledge that occurs through belief, faith, tradition, and science. If intuition is lost, one risks falling into a form of degenerate consciousness, separated from the original source of knowledge. Salt, in addition to giving flavor, also has the function of preserving because it removes water. In the Bible, this concept is expressed symbolically. Water is the matrix of matter and originates from consciousness. Changing the properties of water means falsifying reality. If this happens, the person no longer transmits nature and stops acquiring their own levels of consciousness. This is symbolized in the Bible with the concept of moving forward, Passover, represented by the opening of the portal and the forward passage. If this happens, the person becomes a desert, meaning devoid of the generator of life and therefore no longer generates nature. In this case, since salt represents intuition, it means stopping one's searching consciousness. In biblical tradition, salt was thrown on burning sacrifices, fusion. This act symbolized separation from the generator of life and union with god Satan. Lot's wife looked back and became a pillar of salt. Looking back represents a block of intuition. Becoming a pillar of salt indicates that intuition stops, ceases to function in a generative way, and becomes a bridge with god Satan.